Represent.
So a lot of the messages I put out now, I'm very aware that they contradict some of what I said, say, on the first War mixtape in 2004. I'm not in denial about that. It is what it is. I can't pretend I still feel the same way I felt. Then the use of the word nigger is a very prime example. Something that was all over my first mixtape, all over my first album, hasn't been on any of my records since. That wasn't an accident. That was a very conscious decision. I started doing a certain amount of reading. And it was one particular conversation I had. I was already on my way to saying, you know, what am I really doing? Particularly being that my mum's white, you know, and my dad's black. And if I started using the word honky and cracker as much as I used to use the word nigger, nobody would be entertained by it. That occurred to me amongst other things. But then I had a conversation with one of my elders, a guy called Toyin, who was a Yoruba brother. And he just looked at me and said, young brother, you're better than that. And from that day on, I just said, you know, he's right. If I were to use it, it would be in the only context that it deserves to be, and that's people who were trying to dehumanize a particular group of people. This idea that you can reclaim the word and it's a term of it's bollocks. As far as I'm concerned, it's complete and utter rubbish. That we can reclaim what is arguably the bloodiest word in human history. And so all of that, I suppose, this kind of things I talk about now and the kind of message I'm trying to put out, the kind of challenges, is all just a process of someone who's been really incredibly lucky. I've probably been to 30 countries in the last decade, you know, that I hadn't been to when I made the first War mixtape. To pretend that standing in a favela in Brazil and boys around you with machine guns and hand grenades and they just want to make you a drink doesn't change who you are, do you know what I mean? Pretending that the police pushing a gun in your face when you're coming out of a favela late at night, you know, taking off the safety, and the only reason maybe they didn't shoot you is because they heard the English accent coming out your mouth. It's like, it changes who you are, and if it doesn't, you're a damn fool. You know what I mean? And I found out something a couple of days ago about the phrase niggers in Paris while we're at it. There's a book called Medical Apartheid, which is about the history of experimenting on African Americans in medicine. And the phrase niggers in Paris, or Negroes in Paris, refers to a phenomenon. I haven't actually read the passage, my friend was explaining to me, so I'm going to go and check this out for myself, but my friend was explaining to me the passage. It refers to a time in the 40s and 50s when African Americans en masse were going to Paris to bleach their skin, because the bleaching products weren't yet available so widely in America. So that phenomenon was referred to by academics as Negroes in Paris, just so you know. So go and check out the book Medical Apartheid, because I do want to make it clear, I haven't read that page for myself, but my friend was explaining to me it, so I don't want to get quoted like, and he's wrong. But read the book and decide for yourself. But anyway, sorry, because there's like 7 zillion ways rappers have told us we can kill other black people, you know? So I just feel like, because people say that to me, yeah, well, you know, it's all that deep shit, and that's what I like to take the piss out of. It's like one person raps about being smart a little too much, and he's going on, he's trying to be deep, but 7 million dudes rap about, and they're very specific, let's be clear, they're not rapping about being violent full stop, they're rapping about how many niggers they kill, right? That's cool, you can do that a zillion times, and we've normalized it so much we don't even question it.
Yeah, but alright, sorry, let me interrupt there. When they're saying niggers, they're not necessarily always saying black people.
Of course, of course, sir. How can they not be? It doesn't apply to anyone else. There's nowhere else in the world where anyone of any other colour was told you can't come in here because you're a nigger. It doesn't apply to anyone else on this planet.
The term has been adapted, though.
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. There's nowhere in the world white people or Asian people were not allowed to sit on a bus because they were niggers,
no, I'm talking
or where they were thrown overboard, or where we can say this and we can justify it, but I promise you, we're just kidding ourselves. And people look at us like we're clowns because we still call each other this. We can tell ourselves that's not the case.
Yeah, but it's not only black people. Like black people call other races of people.
Because we're that stupid. not because it's okay. Because we've taken this word, and I'm not cussing. I used to do it, you know. So I'm not saying I'm not cussing.
I don't do it.
I'm saying this is something I used to do. So it's not like I'm judging no one who's 18, 19 doing it. It's just because they don't understand. If I gave them 5 books to read, I've given a room full of boys and I've showed them pictures of lynchings and they don't want to use the word no more. They think of it a whole different. But they didn't know what a lynching was when it started. So they're using this word and they actually have no idea that human beings used to be barbecued in public and this word was the justification and put on postcards and it was sent as it was entertaining because they were this word. Do you understand? Whereas if youths are not being told that today, they just think it's a song that they've heard in a 50 Cent record. You know, if we presented them, cool, this is the word that's being used, but by the way, this is what the blood attached to it, now you make a decision. I would put money on it. People educated that way from young wouldn't want to use the word. But we can't say it applies to everyone else because it just simply does not. It used to apply to Indians as well. They used to call Indian people that word. So maybe that argument could be made, but it can't be made that it applies to anybody else.
Conscious hip-hop for a conscious generation. This is Revolution with Tarek, only on Represent 107.3 FM.